Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 150, written by backtoril, Charlie, or was it Jacques? Their future in a premonition. Nearly 5 years ago now, I was dating a guy called Charlie. My mom felt terrible because she could never remember his name and always called him Jacques. We always poked fun at her as, well, we live in the UK. How do you remember Jacques but not Charlie? After we broke up, my mom continued to ask me how Jacques was, and particularly about his dog, which she believed to be a labradoodle. Charlie had a dog, but definitely not a labradoodle. My mom insisted I'd sent her photos of this dog that didn't exist, all the while referring to Jacques. Sometimes it would get on my nerves as she'd completely fabricate memories of stuff I'd done with Charlie. I thought she was winding me up. Fast forward to now, I'm currently in the beginning stages of dating a guy, surprise surprise, called Jacques. You can probably guess what kind of dog he has too. I haven't told him yet. I didn't want to freak him out or scare him off, but my mom and I have been in a constant state of what the f since I met him. We think that some of the memories she used to make up are things we'll do in the future. Case notes, file number 150. So my quick question is, did your mom by chance save those pictures? If they no longer exist, it's possible that your mom, not you, experienced a quantum crossover event. She saw Charlie's dog as he had it in that reality, and it was a labradoodle there. It makes sense, really, since realities are usually similar, that the Charlie from another reality would have still had the inclination to own a dog. It was just a different dog there. Or if she didn't cross over entirely, she just was able to peer into that reality. Sometimes there's bleed over for unexplainable reasons. Case file number 151, written by doctors 12345. These people near our school were not normal. Context. I left school almost 5 years ago, which is really weird to think about, which is about 15 or 20 minutes by bus from where I currently live, so still local. Anyway, there are some woods on one side of the school, which also go a little bit behind the school as well. Behind those woods, there are a lot of large fields. There's also a house in the middle of those fields where an old man supposedly lives. I'm saying supposedly, as the house looks abandoned and I've never personally seen anyone walking in or out of it. Although the area is generally considered safe, there are quite a few strange stories and actual events that took place around the area. The stories tell of paranormal happenings going on, alleged criminal activity, anything from drug dealing to more serious stuff like kidnapping and murder, and just weird stuff in general. However, many of these stories are not published in the news or anything, so no one really knows how many of them are true and how many are just made up things that are just going around from mouth to mouth. One story that did make the news was that a person who was missing for about 2 months at the time was found tied in a tree in front of the school, on the school premises. The body was tied so tight that they had to cut the whole tree down to get rid of the body, so someone else must have been involved as well, although nothing has been made public afterwards. There are many other strange things that happened in that area, many of which have been confirmed by one of my mates who lives across the road from the school. Below, I'm going to tell my strangest and scariest story of what I've been through while living in this area, and probably the strangest thing I've ever personally encountered. Story. A few years ago, my friends and I were playing football at the school's football pitch, like we usually were. We were there for hours, which was nothing out of the ordinary. There were about 6 of us, and there was another, separate, group of about 7 or 8 people. The pitch was divided into 3 thirds. We were taking up a third each, which we didn't talk to or anything, as we didn't know them and they didn't know us. My friends and I were at the end, near the school, and the forest was at the complete opposite end, about 80 to 85 yards away or thereabout. At one point, one of my mates noticed 2 people wearing masks standing still at the other end, just staring at us. The masks looked similar to the Guy Fawkes mask, but they were somewhat different. They were on the other side of the fence, so we just ignored them, thinking it was someone from the other group playing some kind of joke before joining them. However, they were still just standing there about 15 minutes later. We asked the people from the other group if they knew them, or if they knew what was going on, and they said they noticed them as well, but they thought they were from our group, which they definitely weren't. They stood there for 5 more minutes or so before leaving, so everyone just sort of ignored what just happened and kept playing with their groups. We heard a scream about a half an hour later, which sounded like a female scream. The friend who lived across the road called his mom to make sure she's okay and to ask if she's seen anything. She said that she was alright, and that she heard the scream as well, and was about to call us to see if we were okay. She knew we were at the football pitch playing football, so we just started playing again. Shortly after we started playing again, we heard and saw a police car and an ambulance speeding on the road outside the school. The road was on the opposite side of the school, but the school had more than one building, and you could see the road between 2 of the buildings. About 10 minutes after the scream and the phone call, there were about 5 people standing where the 2 previous people stood, and they were just staring at us. A couple of them had masks, the others didn't. Over the next few minutes, there were more and more people joining them, coming from different areas of the woods and or from the fields. Again, some of them had masks, some didn't. I think that in total, there were somewhere around 30 people just standing there staring at us. We obviously got scared, and it was clear that the other group playing football was scared too. We eventually all stopped playing, and we were just looking at them, and they were looking at us. The other group joined us so that we could all be as far away as possible from this mysterious group. We had no idea what to do. We didn't know whether we should talk to them or not. If we made the right choice by acknowledging them, we didn't know if there would be more of them coming or if they would come onto the pitch. I forgot to mention, we weren't really supposed to be there, as we were in the 6-week summer holiday, so the school was closed and everything was locked up. However, someone managed to unlock one door that was facing the forest door, which was used if someone kicked a ball over the fence during PE. This meant that we were trapped. We couldn't get out without going through them, and we had nowhere to go if they decided to walk towards us. It felt like we all just stood there, looking at them, and they were looking at us, for an eternity, but it was probably only a couple of minutes. We then all huddled up and decided what we should do, and we came to the conclusion that we should call the police. Even if we would have been told off for trespassing or whatever, our safety was way more important. However, the problem is, we were all too scared to call 999. This is the emergency number in the UK. As it turned out, none of us had ever done it before. One of my friends volunteered to do it, so he got his phone out and had 999 dialed up. He just needed to actually call the number. As he was about to do so, we heard the ambulance and the police cars driving the other way, and the people started walking away pretty much straight after the cars passed the school. We decided to wait a little more to make sure they wouldn't be waiting for us somewhere in the forest, which we had to walk through for a couple of minutes to get to the main road. Someone from the other group actually called his older brother and his mates to come and check. We waited for maybe an hour or more, after which we decided to get out of there to find the guy's brother. I don't know any of their names, and quite a few of his friends waiting for us. They laughed at us at first, but then we told them what happened and they stopped laughing at us. Now, it could easily have been someone just messing with us, but I highly doubt it with that many people taking part. My mates and I still don't know why they were staring at us and or what their intentions were, which probably adds to the eeriness. But yeah, this is the strangest and scariest thing I've ever been through in this area, where something weird was definitely going on. I'm saying was because I haven't been there in about 2 or 3 years, but I wouldn't be surprised if strange stuff is still happening. Case notes, file number 151. While this is spooky indeed, the fact there was a missing person who later was found tied up into a tree screams of some sort of ritualistic cult in the area. Be careful out there. My gut tells me had you been alone or in a smaller group, it wouldn't have ended so quietly. The author responded to my comment saying, although I do agree that the whole thing would have ended up not so quietly if the group was smaller, I'm not entirely sure about the cult. This is simply because the things that happen don't happen at regular times, if that makes sense. Sometimes you might have 2 or 3 incidents within a couple of weeks, sometimes it'd be months between each event. As far as I'm aware, Not much has happened in the past couple of years, but then again, I haven't really kept in touch with the old classmates that live there. I'm 99% sure he still lives there. And although I live close to the school, I don't live close enough in order for me to hear everything that happens there. So things might have recently happened, which I wouldn't be surprised about, but I just didn't hear about them. But then again, I know next to nothing about cults, so I might be wrong. Edit. I just wanted to add something. I don't think the people we've encountered that day at the football pitch have anything to do with the missing person incident. I think they were all about 18 or 20 years old at the pitch incident, and the missing person incident happened about a year prior, and he was in his 40s, if I remember correctly. Also, it seems like whenever there are people seen doing strange stuff, it's different people every time. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and leave any thoughts you might have down below. I always like knowing what you guys think too.